A lot of schools all coming together for a bit of a, I think it's fair to say, a bit of a treat today, David.
Yes, joys of being a school child in Macau. You get to go to some great events. Beats going to the zoo, probably, doesn't it?
It probably does. Wonder if they get a chance to go to the Grand Prix Museum as well here at Macau, because that's something special.
That's impressive as well.
Yeah, it is.
Got a lot of interactive elements and also the waxworks of the drivers with great pedigree here. But to the pit lane, attention turns as the drivers get themselves ready to go, including their number 2, the recently signed McLaren Driver Development Programme member Matteo De Paolo, who's been a race winner 4 times in the Formula Regional European Championship. Second he was. Moving on to Formula 3 for next year. 17 there is Yuki Sano in the Tom's Formula entry. Macau debut, having raced in the Formula Super Lights category during the course of the season. And there the entry to turn 1, which is Reservoir Bend, and they won't be doing it from the pit lane because they join in the other side of the first corner. But there, Enzo Delini's car, number 5, at the far end, ready to go. That is one that ended up down the escape road earlier on in the day. Enzo Delini, the French-Chinese driver, born in China but to French parents. His father Arnaud raced in the China Polo Cup a few years back, and he was a 4-time winner to be 3rd in the European Formula Regional Championship this season gone. So get the cars in formation, they're all on the apron, the countdown continues, and then there'll be this mad scramble to get down the pit lane and try to get out on track as soon as possible. And then there'll be, towards the end of the lap, the reverse as people slow down to let cars ahead go and try and buy some clear track space so they don't get impeded. First qualifying session of the day, and this could turn out to be all important. If tomorrow's is a much interrupted session, for example, or if the weather conditions, track conditions were different, then it's all going to be a rather different story as we get set for Q1 for the FIA FR World Cup, the Macau Grand Prix. Green flag, qualifying underway for the Macau Grand Prix. The first session is live then, 40 minutes on the clock, and the teams then release the cars down the pit lane. It is not only the Macau Grand Prix, it is the FIA Formula Regional World Cup, and a 40-minute qualifying session is underway. The earlier free practice period was interrupted with a red flag after an incident. Let's see what happens in qualifying. It's going to be fascinating, that is for sure. David Anderson, Alan Hyde, trackside. We've been waiting all day for qualifying, and this promises to be a really electrifying session, I reckon.
We've been waiting all day for competitive action on the circuit. This is the first that we've had for 2025 because everything so far has been free practice, so you don't really know what everybody is capable of doing. But now you do, because Q1 can be all important. We've seen it in previous years, you know, when you can't afford to leave it to Q2 because you don't know what the conditions are going to be. They could be very different tomorrow. The weather forecast is good. Last year that was not the case. You need to put the lap in on Q1, and this is Q1, and it's going to be fascinating to see how each of the drivers, how each of the teams is going to play this. But I think they're going to be treating this as a very important part of qualifying.
You want some track position if you can find it, a bit of clear space, although at the other extreme, if you're on the run down from the start line to Lisboa, a tow might work in your favour. Right now, though, you get the feeling that track space is what people are after. So here, Matteo De Paolo's onboard shown on the inset. This outlap is of academic interest unless somebody puts it in the wall. The next lap really is the first one that's going to have any representative lap time from it. So we're building up all the time. 40 minutes sounds like quite a long session, but it's a 6-kilometre long lap here, and you know, assuming that people don't have dramas, don't make mistakes, you can get a decent number of laps in, but you've got to be mindful. They get 4 sets of tyres for the weekend as well, so there's an element of tyre management, and I'm pretty sure they'll have tried to keep a fresh set for this. They may well want to do the same for the Grand Prix itself come Sunday. So the tyre allocation, the tyre usage it's, again, risk or reward. Do we save a set for Sunday? Do we throw everything at a good qualifying time and then try and get up the order and preserve that on a slightly used set? This is where Macau experience from the teams comes into play, even if the drivers haven't been here before.
So, outlap is an important time to get everything up to temperature, and then on the final sector move things up to pace. If you've got the tyres up to temperature, it's a 6-kilometre circuit, the gear circuit here at Macau, so there is opportunity on that final run down towards the start-finish line to really put in a quick opening to the lap, closing to the outlap, and then start of the next lap. So Enzo Dellini is the first car to have done that. That's the number 5 car, the RACE GP car, French driver Enzo Dellini, and is the first car to set the benchmark time in Sector 1, goes purple, only briefly because Theo Nal then does a purple in Sector 1. 25.248 the benchmark time for Theo Nal in car number 6. And then Enzo Dellini puts in a purple in Sector 2, it being the first of the cars to set a time in Sector 2, 26.9697, exactly the same as Nakamura. So Nakamura puts in an identical Sector 2, 26.697. David, that doesn't happen often, does it?
No, absolutely, especially on a testing circuit like this. A 2:16.4 was the best time this morning by Taita Kato, who surprised everybody, Macau debutant, and having not been a front runner necessarily in Formula Regional over the course of the year, but he did a very, very good job earlier on in the day. Second pass was with Freddie Slater, who we thought had been the absolute hero to be the quickest, and then others pushed him back down the order, so he kind of went a bit too hard too soon maybe, but he didn't miss out by much. The margin at the end was only 44 thousandths of a second. Enzo Dellini then is going to be the first one to offer up a target time from De Paulo, from Nakamura, Theo Nile, and then the rest will file through. Enzo Dellini then coming up towards Fisherman's, another driver that will move on into FIA Formula 3. So this is really the only chance of doing Macau Grand Prix on their way up to Formula 3. There are drivers that want to occasionally step back, if you like, from F2, like Richard Bashur, from F2 back down to a Formula 3 style car in order to come and race at Macau, because the lure is such. But normally career progression is what they're after. Enzo Dellini then does 2:19 as the first offering. Matteo De Paulo goes through. Jin Nakamura goes second fastest, but in the 2:20. So we know there's more to come over the next 34 minutes.
It is. It's a 40-minute session. They had 40 minutes in FP1 this morning. It's now Q1, so first of the qualifying, they get 40 minutes for this. So too do the F4 cars this weekend, 40 minutes in free practice and qualifying as well. And with one flying lap completed, Enzo Dellini top of the times in car number 5. 2:19.990, the time to aim for, and Theo Nile has once again put in a purple overall best in Sector 1. 2 consecutive laps he's done that now, so impressive is Theo in the first sector of the race, riding on board with Matteo De Paulo, third after the first of the flying laps. Purple for Nakamura in Sector 2, and Oscar Wirtz for the first time today has gone purple in one sector as well, briefly in Sector 1. They really are hoping to make this count early on in the session, aren't they?
Yeah, De Paulo is pushing hard, but again, I think the team's possibly saying, you know, look, we need to get a banker lap in, because they'll all have seen what happened last year, which was so interrupted. It wasn't always because of the weather, it was because people were a bit overly optimistic, even in the dry running. So getting a decent banker lap in, but perversely that puts the pressure on, doesn't it? Because it means they're all trying to deliver early doors just in case. De Paulo coming up to the Melco hairpin. That part of the circuit's really changed over the years with all the building work. It used to be a corner out in the wilderness, but as Macau's number of buildings has grown, the landscape completely different. Under the bridge he goes then, De Paulo down through Black Sands, heading towards Fisherman's. Brakes and sets the car up ready for the right-hander. And Dellini is going to come through and do a faster lap. There he is, flicks the car into the right-hander then, so the Tatia's chassis, breaks the beam, and as it does so, a 2:17 is the lap time. This is DePalo.
Up towards the conclusion of a lap for DePalo, goes second, so a 2:19.054. Briefly was second, but then Nakamura puts in best to go second, and then Teo Null goes second as well. This is going to be a rather frantic opening to this session, I've got a feeling. Freddie Slater was briefly overall best in sector number 2, but he's down there in 7th place now, about to complete a lap and see what he can do.
Looked to me as though he backed out of that and then went again, so almost rode off the first lap, but let's see what the time was. He goes through, and Freddie Slater's lap was a 2:19, yes, 6th. I still think that the way the car looked, it was almost as though he thought, right, forget that lap, deep breath, go again. But let's see what this next lap offers up. He certainly wasn't going to go quickest on that lap.
Reasonably frantic, isn't it, for the start of a session? And you're absolutely right. The teams have said you need to put a banker in, you need to do it early on, and they are all doing exactly what is asked of them. 2:17.900 is the quickest time on circuit at the moment. It's for car number 5, it's for Enzo Dellini, and he is going to improve again, I think, because has gone overall best in sector 2, overall best in sector 3, although Matteo De Paolo has just gone slightly quicker in sector 3, so De Paolo goes purple in sector 3. Freddie Slater, as he did on the previous lap, has gone overall best in sector 2.
And Mattia Colnaghi has gone 3rd overall in terms of a lap time, the Euro Cup 3 champion, recently joined the Red Bull Junior team, and Colnaghi driving for the PHM racing team up to 3rd in the time. So it's Dellini, Niall, Colnaghi, Boyer, Nakamura, De Paolo, and Freddie Slater 7th, but set to improve. This is Dellini, who's not been sparkling in terms of an absolute best, but he's been improving in every sector. He's got the road to himself, so he's not being hurt by anybody, but equally he's not getting a tow from anybody. He's got to be doing this on his own, and gets the car sideways, misses the apex. Does he survive? He does, but Dellini has wasted that last sector. He was lucky to hang on to that. That could have been quite a moment. He comes across the line, but that last sector cost him a second, so he does a 2:18 and he doesn't improve. DePalo goes second.
I'm going to be watching for Freddie Slater as well. He's dropped down to 8th place, but has gone. He was briefly overall best in sector 2. Sector 3, he is overall best. Sector 4, he is overall best. And Freddie Slater is coming up to complete a lap. So much to look forward to over the course of this weekend for the Macau Grand Prix, and this is one of the drivers we are very keen to see how things will play out. Freddie Slater coming up towards the line. He's currently down there in 9th place. He's gone overall best in 2 sectors and goes top. 2:16.887 for Freddie Slater.
And he's due some good luck here, really, isn't he? Because last year he crashed out when he made a move on the last lap. He said, I had to try. 2 years ago in F4, he had a mechanical problem and the car fell down the order. He couldn't carry on in that battle against Arvin Lindblad. It wasn't anything to do with him. It was some weird, I think it was an electrical drama that hobbled his pace. So he's kind of overdue a bit of good luck. But again, he comes here as the Formula Regional Europe champion with a really bright spotlight on him.
Yeah, and I always wonder about how much pressure that puts on a driver. He is one of those drivers that has impressed in everything he has been in. As you say, multiple champion. As soon as he came into car racing, champion in Ginetta Juniors, but not just a champion and not just able to clinch a championship, able to do so with rounds to spare, so it doesn't have to complete the rest of the year and win right the way through the season. He's just very impressive from the day he stepped into a car.
And there's another one on the way. His younger brother Alfie is now racing in Ginetta Juniors as well. There going through is Teo Nail, coming out of Donna Maria, and there's a yellow flag at turn 3. That's Lisboa, so either there's a car up the escape road or there's a car in the wall. It's up the escape road.
It is 28.
So Kiyoshi Umagaki it is, who's gone straight on up the escape road.
Who is the Formula Regional Japan champion.
That's right.
This year.
With 7 wins, so he's been a quick driver. With a yellow flag out, in theory, people should not be improving now within that second sector. Coming up over the timing line, but this wave of driver ahead of that yellow flag, so they're all okay, but it's the next lap they need to be mindful of. So Freddie Slater the quickest, but he's yet to get to the end of the lap. And Teo Neal is up to second, De Paulo third, Charlie Wirtz goes fourth, and this morning star Taito Kato is up into the top 5. This is Slater looking to go quicker again than a 2:16.887, and he does so with a 2:16.321.
It was an up and down lap that as well, wasn't it? Because he'd already gone through on sector 2. He'd already put in that purple overall best in sector 2. Sector 3 then was a little slower, and sector 4 was a personal best, but with a purple in sector 5, good enough to improve on the overall time. Car number 28, confirmation that car off on the circuit, which we identified as the Formula Regional Japan champion, but a 2:16.321 now is the time that everybody can aim for, and it's Freddie Slater, car number 11, top of the times.
By half a second from Niall, Boyer, and Paulo, and now, out of nowhere, Noah Stromstead is up to 5th. First time we mentioned his name all day. Hasn't been on page 1 of the timing screen all day, but Stromstead now, with an absolute best 3rd sector on that lap, puts himself up into the mix. He was an FIA Formula 3 championship racer with 1 race win, 6th in the championship this year gone. So he steps, if you like, down from F3 to Formula Regional, slightly less powerful car. And Noah Stromstead then goes 5th fastest ahead of Wirtz, Kato, Delaney, Kornagi, and another one we've not mentioned all day. Now into the top 10, number 21.
But we've seen it for quite a few years, haven't we, when drivers continue on their ladder and they haven't been victorious at Macau, they step back, almost taking a backward step back into single-seaters that they were competing in 1 or 2 or 3 years before, because they want to win here at Macau. There have been quite a few drivers that did it. Alexander Sims did it for many, many years, and a number of other drivers as well. They just want to have that on their... Antonio Felix da Costa, he was one that came back and won it again, even when he was competing in DTM, which is much, much quicker machinery and much more powerful machinery as well. But it rather proved it, and 2 times a winner here at Macau.
Now that's Murray Boyer up to second, and 3 tenths back, or nearly 4 tenths back in fairness from Freddie Slater, but up to second in the times, Murray Boyer. So the order is starting to look rather different. Tasanapolim from Pubersak's just got up into 12th. So Freddie Slater the quickest, Murray Boyer second, and here, up towards the line, Noah Stromstead. So he's done 2 personal bests, an absolute best. He gains 1 place on the provisional grid. Up to 4th goes Noah Stromstead. Bearing in mind that he doesn't know the car that well, been out of Formula Regional for a season, so he's having to dial himself back in. And he won't have race 1 here, and he's never raced at Macau either, Macau debut. This is Matteo De Paulo, who really does look as though he's got this thing by the scruff of the neck, but De Paulo is only 6th at the moment.
We mentioned Jose Garfias so far today, car number 21, Mexican driver competing in Euro Formula Open, was 4th this year with 3 wins. He just put in an overall best in sector 4, and we've got a yellow flag down at turn 3 being indicated. So once again, that's when sector 2 goes yellow. It's the number 20 car of Enzo Ye.
Chinese karting champion, but he's gone up the escape road. The good news is no damage, so the PHM racing car ready to rejoin Macau debutant Enzo Ye, the driver from Chinese Taipei. This is Matteo De Paulo then coming up to the end of the lap. Personal best, personal best, personal best, personal best across the 4 sectors thus far. He's about to go right through Fisherman's and then up towards Arbend and the timing line. Behind him on the racetrack there you've got Teo Niall. And De Paulo's got 1 more corner to go. It's looked quick, it's looked spectacular, but that's partly because it's a bit of a car to hang on to all the way around here. Enzo Delaney goes quickest, and he's done a 2:16.297. De Paulo goes 3rd as Freddie Slater comes into the pit lane. Théo Niel now goes to the top of the times, 2:16.253, 44 thousandths up on Deligny, and the gap in FP1 was 44 thousandths between the top two come the end.
Freddie Slater was into pit lane, so he started just a couple of minutes ago. Top of the times, is now down in third place with Niel and Deligny both going a little bit quicker on that last lap. So Théo Niel with a 2:16.253. Top of the times. Freddie Slater in pit lane. Who else? Charlie Wirtz in pit lane as well. And we are 22 minutes of the session remaining, almost into the second half of the session.
Which so far has been a good one in terms of the drama of the times,
okay,
and the shuffling of the order.
Yeah, okay.
I'm not thinking about the other thing.
No, okay.
That is the elephant.
But it has been good though, hasn't
it?
Yeah.
Yes. Right, who else do we need to keep an eye on? Kanato Lee improved into the top dozen last time. Evan Gilter also getting himself onto page one. And another driver, he just pitted, but has had a stronger second session. Timothy Kwarczuk, also here for the first time. The Euro Formula Open champion, but a race winner in GB3 in the UK, or the GB3 UK Base Championship over the last couple of seasons as well. Timothy Kwarczuk getting himself into 8th in Euro in the Van Amersfoort car. 6 wins he had in Euro Formula Open this year. Kanato Lee's time you can see on the clock. So Théophile Niel is the fastest, 2:16.253. 44 thousandths up on Enzo Deligny. Deligny was under investigation, you might recall, in FP1 for outside assistance. He was trying to get the car off the escape road. A marshal helped him, but it was decided that as he'd not been here before and it was a marshal, then we'll take no further action. But just don't do it again. Don't let a marshal help you. It's as much the marshal's fault, you could argue, as the driver's, but there was no judicial action taken. Right, the pit lane's getting very busy as a new set of tyres goes on for another run. So qualifying is by no means over. You could tell those tyres were starting to lose their edge because there were fewer improved sectors coming. So now there's a flurry of cars. If you're really unlucky, you might get waved to the scrutineering area, and that's what's happened to Matteo De Paolo here as he comes in. The technical officials say turn off the engine, so they will now roll the car onto the scales, make sure that it's of the correct weight. So that's going to lose you know, around about half a minute before the car can be released down to the team. So we are pretty much now at the halfway point. 20 minutes of the 40 still to go.
Yeah, so pretty much everyone down in pit lane at the moment. So seeing this qualifying session over 40 minutes in two distinct halves, isn't it? Because normally we don't get to this opportunity, because normally we have a break in the session, a car that needs to be recovered or something like this. But this is how they would have planned to do qualifying if there wasn't an interruption. This is the ideal way to attack Q1. 19.5 minutes of the session remaining, and Matteo De Paolo now, having finished the technical check for coming into pit lane, is able to take up his place down in pit lane, and the team can tend to it and change the tyres. But opportunity for the drivers just to reflect and think about what lies ahead over the remaining 19 minutes of this session. Take a bit of water on board as well. Working really hard around the quite warm today gear circuit, set to get warmer as the days continue this week, with a very sunny day forecast for race day, Grand Prix day here at Macau this year. Up to 27, 26, 27 degrees on Sunday, which is something to look forward to, certainly for the spectators.
Yeah, that's true. And spectators, there are many this weekend, not only for cars, but for the China Games as well. So there are other sports taking place here. There is more to Macau than just the Grand Prix. Keen to emphasise that, the first time they've ever held the China Games, and one is tempted to come back in a few weeks because the International Macau Beer Festival is not that far away as well. So I know it's a long way to come, but it does appeal.
You have been doing your research, haven't you?
Well, it's beer, Alan, it's beer.
What were you doing last night? Rehearsals?
So we're into part two of the session, 18 minutes on the clock. Théo Niel, the fastest. He's still in the pit lane as the drivers that have been ushered out continue on their way.
So just under 18 minutes of this session remain. It's Q1 for the 2025 72nd running of the Macau Grand Prix and the FR World Cup, Formula Regional World Cup. The number 10 car of Yamakoshi, 9th in Formula Regional Europe this year, a couple of second places, and the number 10 car in the second half of this session, looking to get up into the top 10 positions. And now I think quite a few of them are being turned around from pit lane. It's a quieter pit lane now, with tyres having been bolted onto the cars. We have just had a session here at Macau without interruption. It was for the FIA GT World Cup, the Macau GT Cup. And I have to say, this is going very well for the Formula Regional cars as well.
So this is the calm before the storm, isn't it? New set of tyres, people being sent out, a lap to get back into a rhythm. And then what was impressive, I think, about the first half was how many laps they could squeeze out of a set of tyres. So it's not that, like in some categories and some tyre supply and the construction of the tyre, it means you've really got one lap before they lose the edge. Here we were doing, what, 5 laps? 5 good laps on a set of tyres.
Over a circuit where just about every possible condition is requested of the tyre.
Yeah.
It's tight, it's slippery, and it's a huge amount of speed, and it really does put a lot of stresses into the tyre in every single direction, and they need to get them first of all up to temperature, and that's what they're doing now, because we've got a timing screen that indicates that pretty much everyone is on their out lap from pit lane. So this very much a qualifying session in 2 sections through design rather than circumstance.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And you can see that they're on a new set of tyres because the weaving now takes place, so they can get the warmth into them and get the pressures up as well. And that's on the run down towards Mandarin, out of which now comes the car of Charlie Wirtz, number 8. Brakes hard for Lisboa, turns into the gap between the barriers, hangs the back out, but thankfully doesn't brush the wall. So Wirtz just a little bit keen with his right foot. Charlie Wirtz back at Macau, having raced here 2 years ago, but he didn't finish the Grand Prix itself. Crashed or retired from the race, but he was 11th in the qualifying race that year. Good racing family, of course, the Wirtzes. 2 brothers race now. Dad Alex got to Formula 1, and grandfather Franz Wirtz was a European rallycross champion going back to the 1970s. He was one of the first people to campaign an Audi Quattro in rallycross that really unlocked the four-wheel drive revolution. But Charlie Wirtz, a Formula Regional Oceania champion, and a Formula 4 UAE champion as well. You can tell it's been a busy day with all the tyre marks at the bottom of the hill there.
Yes.
It's Paul Moorish. Lots of people have been locking up and going off there.
It's 4:15 local time, and in an hour and 3/4, what you see as the gear circuit of Macau opens up, and it's normal streets of Macau for the evening. It's very much 2 faces of Macau for the 4 days of the Macau Grand Prix, and it's quite incredible that within really a few minutes or maybe half an hour after the Grand Prix completes at the end of Sunday, that all of the furniture that goes in to build the Macau Grand Prix, all of a sudden there are work vans in operation and lorries collecting up various bits of furniture around the circuit, and it's put away to bed. Must be a fairly large container that carries all the infrastructure that goes in for the Macau Grand Prix, because the infrastructure is huge.
Yeah, and it all works so well.
It's superb.
It has to be rebuilt the year after. Right, I think we're heading towards the relevant part of this second half, if you like, because now sector times, although they're not improving, they're getting close to the improvement part. So unofficially, Q1B starts now.
with just under 13 minutes left on the clock for Q1 for the 72nd running of the Macau Grand Prix here on the beautiful gear circuit, and such a treat to come here year after year and to enjoy this young talent really in the opening years of their motor racing careers. When you look back, and we'll do that as we get closer to the Grand Prix on Sunday, and just remind ourselves of some of the names that have been victorious here at Macau. It's quite a list. Teo Nile is the number 6 car at the top of the times. The time to aim for is a 2:16.253. That's the best lap of this session so far, and it is only 0.04 of a second quicker than Enzo Dellini in car number 5 and Freddie Slater in car number 11. The margins are extremely tight in this qualifying session, which bodes very well indeed for an exciting 4 days for the 72nd Macau Grand Prix. Looking at the number 5 car of Enzo Dellini, he's gone personal best in sector 1, sectors 2 and 3 on this first flying lap after the change of tyres halfway through the session. There are a couple of personal bests coming in, namely for Charlie Wirtz in the number 8 car. He's gone personal best in the first 3 sectors and is about to complete the lap. Number 8 car of Charlie Wirtz threads his way carefully around the top part of the circuit, on board with Freddie Slater. Right, Freddie has just gone overall best in sector 4. One more sector to complete, and is only a whisker away from the quickest time in this session. Freddie Slater coming up towards the line.
But his sectors 1 and 3 were quite a bit slower, but he still goes fastest. He still does it at 2:16.132. Those last 2 sectors, Alan, were absolutely amazing because he lost the best part of half a second in sectors 1 and 3 combined. Red flag, big off down at Lisboa, and in the wall,
Yamakoshi.
Here, Yamakoshi, absolutely right. And a red flag with 10 minutes to go. That might well be almost the end. It's going to eat into quite a lot of the 10 minutes because people have to come into the pit lane before we can get marshals on the track. And Yamakoshi gets out of the car. He understeers in, too quick, can't make the corner, and bang, in he goes. So the car needs to be pulled from underneath the barriers, then craned out of the way, and well, no, apologies. The clock, of course, does stop because it's qualifying session, so we are going to be able to run to the end, forgive me. So everybody comes down the pit lane, and time is on our side. There is 45 minutes in the timetable between the end of the session after this and the roads opening. So the race director red flags the session, and we will hopefully be able to get back up and running. And Freddie Slater timed that lap to perfection, didn't he? Not really only was it the best, but just before the red flag. And what this may do is slightly waste this second set of tyres.
You're right. They've got to get the tyres back up to temperature as well. The number 5 car, Enzo Dellini, went down the escape road when he came down to Lisboa. And
that's under a red flag, and with marshals trackside, that will go down like a broken lift, I would have thought.
Yes.
So this is the quick bit, getting the car out of the way. So actually, shouldn't take us too long to be able to resume. But you know, in years gone by, maybe you could have done that under a yellow flag. Not anymore. And Dellini going up the escape road sort of proves why the regulations don't let you have people trackside now.
And it's always slightly disappointing when somebody does sort of nose into the barrier down there at Lisboa, because there is an option. So a decision has been made to try the corner and not go down the escape road, which could be a huge difference, and certainly was for Yamakoshi on that lap. 9th in Formula Regional Europe this year, and the car now high in the air air being recovered by the crane down there on the exit of Lisboa. Red flag. We got to nearly half an hour of this session.
Yep, we did. We did. So the cars... I'm just worried about these tyres because they're effectively going to have another heat cycle put through them, and that might not be perfect. Matteo De Palo out of the car makes me wonder whether that's his session done. De Palo is 5th in the times. But everybody else staying in the car, ready to go back out. So I wonder why De Palo has jumped ship. Now, your next quiz question.
Yes.
Excluding anybody that may have done a Friday free practice drive in a Formula 1 car, who was the last Macau Grand Prix winner to race in a Formula 1 Grand Prix? There's 1 point for who, and there's another point for when, without looking in your programme. That's cheating.
I'll put that back.
You'd put that back.
Okay.
Yes.
Leave it with me.
Okay. You've got 10 minutes, so by the checkered flag, 10 minutes plus stoppage time, by the checkered flag, we demand an answer. Freddie Slater is the fastest. We talked about his brother being the next one in the line, already winning in Ginetta Juniors, but Dad was no slouch in Porsches going back 2 decades or so, and a winner of the Silverstone 24 Hours, as well as winning UK Porsche races and championships. Adrian Slater, BLDC superstar Freddie Slater. You see the badge on the side of the car. Murray Boyer, the Spanish driver, to the pit lane as well in the KCMG and the Pinnacle Motorsport entry. Murray Boyer 4th in the times at the moment. The session will resume in under a minute. So that's good news. That did not take long at all. Get the car out of the way, crane it off the track, put it behind the barrier, we're good.
Which is really good news. So great work down at Lisboa. The marshals and the course workers, they are so experienced at Macau, and they get these things turned around so quickly. They know how important it is as well. When you see debris on the circuit, I find it fascinating. Marshals come, maybe a dozen of them, all from different directions, and they're sweeping away, getting things back into race conditions. Let's have a look back at Freddie Slater's lap.
So you're riding with Freddie Slater. Just to let you know, the green flag has been waved, so cars are making their way back out on track after the stoppage. This is Lisboa. Slater with just a hint of understeer, I thought, though, as he turned in, but rode to himself. This is the climb up San Francisco Hill, speed building. Drops through the gears, goes left, goes right, goes left, goes right, threads his way then on towards the Teddy Yip corner. As I say, cars out on track, but they're only on an outlap, so we're not missing anything. Staying on board with Freddie Slater for the lap on which he set the current pole position time. If you're the cause for stoppage, by the way, you lose your best lap time. So Hiro Yamakoshi is under the cosh, so to speak, for that. As down the hill towards Moorish goes Freddie Slater on that pole position lap set only a few minutes ago. Turn right. Blast on the throttle, road starts to climb, you go down through the gears, turn right at Moorish, up to Donna Maria. Down a gear, down another, turn the car in, slightly banked corner, running up against the guardrail on the outside, and then focus on going down, 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 down through the gears, down to first gear, into the hairpin. Inch perfect away from the barrier, drops down through Black Sands. 2 quick right-handers still to come. The right of Fisherman's, followed by R Bend, and then up towards the timing line. Freddie Slater then in the SJM Theodore Racing colours, the Prema Racing Run entry. 1 corner to go, road opens up at this point, nice and wide. Snatches top gear, drops down 2, turns right, up towards the timing line, and that lap gave Freddie Slater provisional pole position.
These onboard laps are quite the treat, aren't they? Just seeing what goes into it, and that's again the word that comes to mind is smooth.
Yeah.
So smooth, going through the solitude S's. That's the right and the left, and the right and the left as you climb up. The circuit is so tight, but if you keep it smooth, it gives you a great entry to Pile and then far away hill into Police, into the braking area for Police. It is such a vital part of the circuit. That fascinating, absolutely fascinating. We are back underway, by the way, as you mentioned. 7.5 minutes just over of this session remaining, and it's Freddie Slater, that lap we just saw, which is quickest so far in this session, a 2:16.132. But as you said, they've got to put heat into the tyres. That's the out lap from pit lane, and now we'll see what happens.
And here Yamakoshi has indeed lost his best lap time for causing the red flag. And you might think, well, that's a bit like kicking a man when he's down, but the regulation is there to try to stop people crashing, because if you put a big deterrent in like that, then they hopefully will stay the right side of drama. So Yamakoshi loses his best lap. He will tumble down the order accordingly, and that puts the pressure on him to try to improve in tomorrow's session. So we've got 7 minutes still to go. And in fairness, people are pushing, because we are getting initial improvements in sectors as the cars then have 6.5 minutes to go. And you're looking at Enzo Deligny, currently third in the times.
We did have a little bit of sunshine here at Macau today, but not very much. It was around lunchtime, and now it's just beginning to get a little bit darker here at Macau. Gets dark pretty much around 6 o'clock, and it's almost like a switch over 10 minutes or thereabouts, and it goes from daylight to night time, and the lights of Macau and everything about the night sky of Macau is unique and absolutely fascinating, and just a magical place to be, particularly in Grand Prix week, and made all the more special this week because Macau playing host to the national games here. So a huge sporting occasion over the course of this week with the Macau Grand Prix and the national games as well. Freddie Slater is pressing on. He's gone purple in sector 2. He's now personal best in sector 3, and then in sector 4 we've now got a yellow flag and a red flag.
Yeah, there's a yellow at turn 12. Enzo Deligny had just got himself up to the top of the time, so Enzo Deligny has gone quicker, but Freddie Slater's not going to be able to complete the lap because we've gone red. So Slater, who'd done an absolute best and a personal best, can't finish the lap. So Deligny, by being first out, was able to get the lap in before the red flag. It's at turn 12, Slater pits, 5 minutes. There's going to be time just for one flying lap.
It's going to be one lap only, isn't it?
Yeah.
And you've got to really make sure that you make the out lap. They did so well, didn't they? Half an hour they got through or thereabouts without a stoppage. And now in the last 10 minutes we get 2 stoppages. Car number 27, Reza Siru-Ruthin in the Trident Motorsport car, competed in GB3 this year, did Reza, and 5th was the at the end of the championship in GB3. A win and a few third places, 3 third places, and a third as well. So, unfortunately, that car coming to a bit of a stop and causing the second of our interruptions, second of our red flags.
Yeah, Reza Seaworthen has never raced a Formula Regional car. They're a similar concept to a GB3 chassis, in which he has been racing this year. The British driver, as you saw, ran wide, bounced off the barrier, broken front suspension. So first time he's raced one of these, first time he's been to Macau, and it's been a tough day, not helped by that drama.
So 5 minutes and 22 remain on the clock, with cars heading back to pit lane. And once we complete this qualifying session, Q1 for Formula Regional, we will have one more qualifying session at Macau today. It's for one of the local races for the Macau Road Sport Challenge. So however important this is to the young drivers on the start of their single-seater career, it's going to be equally as important for everyone competing in the qualifying session that comes after the conclusion of this. Half an hour of qualifying for the local drivers for the Road Sport Challenge. But for now, it's all about these young drivers on the start of their motorsport career, wherever it may take them, be it single-seaters or GTs or touring cars. They will forever remember the experience they had around the gear circuit at Macau.
And Reza Seaworthen will lose his best lap time as he has caused a stoppage. So Freddie Slater, with the crash helmet that he said he designed himself in a colouring book age 6, he sits in the car, ready to go back out. On to adjustments and checks being made just to make sure that everything is okay after rattling around the gear circuit. That was James Egotzi's car, the Santa Lot Racing entry of the American.
It's a shame we weren't able to see the conclusion of Freddie Slater's lap, because he was on it, wasn't he?
Yeah.
Straight away. One lap to warm up the tyres and then bang, straight back on it. And we had just watched and enjoyed the previous quick lap that he had done. So, chance to have a look at Al Dahiri's car down in pit lane, competing in Formula Regional Europe, coming in 8th place this year.
And that is Owen Tangavello, a French-Vietnamese driver. He has a Flemish-Polish mother, a Vietnamese father, and grew up in Paris, so very cosmopolitan. And there is Charles Leung, who's been a winner of the Grand Prix in Formula 4 during the COVID era. And he's been racing in Lamborghini Super Trofeo Asia this year, but has come back to the Grand Prix, back to single-seaters. It's a real contrast from a Lamborghini one-make to a Formula Regional chassis, but
a bit.
He's got the confidence to do it.
When you've got a driver competing at their level, it doesn't take long to remember where it all goes. I do remember Antonio Felix da Costa stepping back from a BMW DTM car, and I think at that stage also a Formula E car to get back into one of the Formula 3 cars to compete here at Macau and win as well. And that was something that I questioned whether that will be an easy thing to do. And he said it all comes back to you very, very quickly. Doesn't really take very long. And great character and a great winner here at Macau. So seeing them lining up and being tended to by the teams down in pit lane. 5 minutes and 22 seconds when we get this session back underway. I look down at some of the cars down in pit lane.
I'm being told as well that number 8 stopped at turn 19, Charlie Wirtz.
Which we didn't see, did we?
No. That's the hairpin, turn 19. He wasn't the cause of the red flag, admittedly, but where Reza Seaworthen has come to rest is not an easy place to remove the car, not as easy as Lisboa, for example. They need a recovery track. Everyone finding themselves on the big screen down at Lisboa and giving a wave. So 1 or 2 gaps now in the order of the cars going up the pit lane as you have a look at 23, Taito Kato, who is still in the mix, 6th. 24 there, you can see also, is Kanato Lee. Came from Ginetta Juniors in the UK and a race winner in the Middle East Championship at the start of this season. ART Grand Prix, another experienced squad in Macau Grand Prix terms. Number 20 is Enzo Ye. We talked about him earlier on when we saw him at the Escape Road, the driver from Chinese Taipei making a Macau debut, and that's Kanato Lee entry, another of the ART Grand Prix stable.
So difficult time for them down in pit lane. They were within sight of the checkered flag, if you like.
Yeah.
They were 10 minutes away from the end of this session, and they had to come down to pit lane, remain focused, stay in the zone for the final 10 minutes, and now they're having to do the same again for just 5 minutes of the session, and it could be critical. This final lap, they'll get one lap when they get out of pit lane, do the out lap, get the heat into the tyres once again, and they will get one opportunity, and it could be a very important lap that they have for the end of this qualifying. They qualify again tomorrow, 2:30 in the afternoon, 2:30 until 3 local time, and they'll also have a free practice session in the morning as well.
That first red flag, just going back a stage, caused by Hiro Yamakoshi going into the wall at Lisboa. It was Yamakoshi that caused the red flag earlier on in the day in FP1 when he lost a wheel. So Yamakoshi's had a pretty torrid day of it, really, and emphasis put on him in the second session tomorrow to try to get back up the order. So Enzo Dellini, Freddie Slater, Teo Neal, Mari Boyer, Matteo De Palo and Taiki Kato is the order. We're intrigued to see whether Matteo De Palo goes back out again, because he was out of the car.
He was, but may have wanted to stretch his legs, or could be a few reasons, to not be sat in the cockpit, the cramped cockpit of the car for an hour or maybe more. So we're getting confirmation that the session will resume at 16:40, which is just about a minute away. So if he's not back in the car, needs to be if he wants to get out, because they're not going to get too much leeway here as the recovery vehicle brings the car back to a place of safety, and we can get this session back underway for Q1 for the Macau Grand Prix for the FIA FR World Cup. Here we go then, engines firing up. We have 5 minutes and 22 seconds of this session remaining, and this Q1 for the 72nd Macau Grand Prix.
So within 20 seconds the session will be back underway, and it's got 5 minutes and 23 seconds as you see on the clock. So time for an outlap, certainly one flyer, and if you're at the front of the queue you might squeeze a second flying lap out of it. So this is where
but only just
everybody will be on their toes. Yeah, only just. Green flag show, we're back in business.
Here we go. Let's get the session back underway then for Q1 for the 72nd Macau Grand Prix, the FIA Formula Regional World Cup, and cars thread their way down pit lane, about to get back onto the gear circuit, and this outlap from pit lane is going to be absolutely critical. You need to get a fair bit of pace on this lap. You need to get the heat into the tyres, but you can't afford to put a wheel wrong, because that, I think, would be critical to this session, wouldn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. It would indeed. So everybody back out. And so now you've got to tread that fine line. You want to be quick to try to get another lap out of it,
yeah,
but you don't want to overstep the mark on cold tyres. Exactly right.
No, you don't.
Freddie Slater getting through the traffic. And you also want to get in a lap in this session, because you just don't know what tomorrow is going to bring. By the time they get to their second qualifying session, which will be at 2:30 tomorrow, it would have been a busy day. Might be some liquid down. Might even have a sprinkling of rain. Something may have happened in the temperature to make it a slower track, so you've got to get lap times in here. Marshall's trackside there over from Maternity Bend, watching the cars accelerate away. Again, Enzo Dellini, one of the drivers first out, R8 GP. Like last year, we do go with Chuku, putting themselves at the pit exit end, and that's paying dividends right now.
He was superb last year, wasn't he? Absolutely superb.
He was fortunate in as much as they were in the right place in the pit lane. The order of who goes where in the pits, I've never quite got to the bottom of, I'm afraid, but certainly being at the pit exit end doesn't half help. real bottleneck going up towards Moorish, isn't it?
It is a bit,
slows right down.
This is not a quick outlap from pit lane because everybody was eager to leave the pit lane and get out on the circuit, and the net result of that is that no one's able to pull away. So now the problem, once they finish this outlap, they haven't got too much heat into the tyres, not as much as they would like, but also they are not able to do a particularly quick outlap from pit lane. So there are a number of things at play here.
Yeah, Deligny was the first one out. He's at pit exit for RHGP. He's top of the tyres, so he's not going to go that quickly to encourage people to do a quick lap, but he has now pulled the pin, I think, to try to get one lap in for himself. But what he'd like is to get a second in and nobody else. So he's stacked them all up. Now he flies. So what's he got as he crosses the line? 2 minutes and 20 seconds. And a flying lap is what, 2:16?
2:16.016 so is the professional pole time now.
He's going to get another lap, and whoever is behind him on the road is going to get another lap. And that's probably about it. That will cover your 4 seconds.
Yeah, you're right. And also the question comes, how much heat were they able to get into the tyres running at a slow pace behind?
Oh, exactly. Not that much is your answer. So Deligny here has been very shrewd, and his engineer possibly has had a big part to play in this. As up San Francisco Hill now goes Enzo Deligny. Freddie Slater, you can see with the onboard in the timing graphic on the left-hand side, pressing on as well. He's got a clear racetrack ahead of him, so we'll start to see if any improvements are coming, and they're not coming, in fact, because Sector 1, not an improvement for Deligny. Sector 2, not an improvement for Deligny, nor does Slater go quicker in Sector 1.
I'm not sure they will, because they've put now... how many heat cycles have they put into these tyres? This is the third. Now, yeah. So I'm not
Slater,
sure they will.
Yeah, Slater, though, has just done an absolute best in the second sector. So if anybody can do it, he thinks he can, and he's proving the point. Deligny might be able to go better on his next lap, but Slater doesn't have a next lap in the system. I think Deligny will escape, but Slater will get the checkered flag, I would suggest. So he needs to hang everything on this one lap. Down he comes then, heading towards Moorish Hill. Down through the gears into Moorish itself. Go right. And Slater really is on the attack. Personal best Sector 3, whereas Deligny is decent, but he's not improving in any of the sectors. Slater on the money coming out of Donna Maria now.
It's tight, isn't it, Donna Maria? It's a long left-hander, then the run down towards the Melco hairpin, through the Melco hairpin, threading the eye of a needle, and then the circuit opens up down through Black Sands towards Fisherman's, the right-hander, the penultimate turn on the gear circuit here at Macau, and then onto R Bend and the conclusion of the lap. So overall best in Sector 2, personal best in Sector 3, and we'll see what happens in Sector 5. Checker flag goes out.
And here is Slater then to take it, so only the top two managed to get through for another lap. Slater goes fastest, he's done it right at the very end. Another yellow flag has come out, but Freddie Slater has gone fastest at the very end on a 2:15.708, 3/10 quicker than anybody else. And there is the reason for the yellow. Off the track has gone number 28, by the look of it, which is Kiyoshi Umagaki. Not for the first time we've seen him in trouble in the session. And he's, as you can see, broken the front of the car. So suspension damage, nose cone damage, checkered flag is out. So by the time people get to him, they should be at a slower speed anyway. So the session is allowed to run to the end. But Freddie Slater, right at the very end, then goes quickest. And you can see where the accident has started, because there's bodywork on the road as well. So Umagaki's car broken. That does kind of go against Enzo Deligny, doesn't it? Because he was on for another lap. Admittedly, it didn't start that well, but Deligny won't get a chance with the yellow flags out around the circuit.
Just goes to show you can try and be as clever as you like, but circumstances can always change.
Is Freddie Slater a circumstance? Because he certainly changed the order for Deligny.
He most certainly did, yeah.
Well, we know he's good. The Formula Regional European champion, and Freddie Slater with a lap. One absolute best, one personal best, 3 slower sectors, but added all together, fastest. Very impressive. Net result, a 2:15.708, and Freddie Slater, top of the times after Q1 for the 72nd Macau Grand Prix and FIA FR World Cup.
there's so much to look forward to over the next 3 days.
Yeah.
And that was a mouth-watering qualifying. We could have got all the way without a stoppage as well.
Oh, don't look at me. Don't look at me.
Within 10 minutes of that.
I know. The other nice thing about this whole day for the FR World Cup drivers, there's not been one dominant driver. You know, at different parts of the session, somebody else has topped the times.
True.
And it was coming out of Donna Maria where Umagaki got it wrong. You see the tyre marks, and then the nose cone has bounced up the road. So an unusual place to lose it, that. But Umagaki has had a good go at damaging the barriers at Donna Maria. So Freddie Slater from Enzo Deligny, the margin 3/10. Mari Boyer third from Teo Niall, Matteo De Palo, and then Mattia Colnaghi. Still don't think De Palo went back out, did he? Because he was shown as pit in all the way through that. So I think De Palo's got a problem. And then sixth, Mattia Colnaghi. But yeah, really, really interesting couple of sessions today for the Macau Grand Prix, for the FIA FR World Cup. Now the drivers making their way down the pit lane.
Confirmation after Q1. Freddie Slater is quickest at 2:15.708. Enzo Deligny in car number 5 in second place. Mari Boyer in third. Teo Niall in fourth place. Matteo De Paolo and Matteo Colnaghi in sixth place. And as we look forward to the Formula Regional cars tomorrow, we'll have them first on circuit tomorrow. Free practice 2 is at 10:15 local time. That's 40 minutes that they'll get out on circuit for free practice 2. And their qualifying session quite a lot earlier in the afternoon than today. So at 2:30 tomorrow afternoon, qualifying 2 for the Macau Grand Prix for the FIA FR World Cup. That's all coming up tomorrow, and that's going to be over 40 minutes as well. But carrying over into tomorrow's qualifying, quickest is Freddie Slater.